This is what it feels like. Oh, my bad. You haven't worked in my world.
What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Cleveland! I'm going to the house! I'm going to the house! It's a wrap. Game over.
No, game is not over. In fact, it's just getting started right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. And just like Atlanta said, it ain't over. It ain't over right here on the lunch break. I know some folks say it's too soon, AJ. Philadelphia fans say, AJ, it's too soon. Don't do us like that. But anytime you're up 26 points and you allow another team to walk you down and beat you, yeah. You might as well get ready for all the smoke. And as bad as I feel for none other than Doc Rivers, hey, you gotta step to the podium and get that smoke. Yesterday was a crazy day in the NBA in more ways than one. I mean, it was crazy from the game before. It was crazy when we found out about Chris Paul. It was crazy when we found out about Stan Van Gundy. It was crazy when we found out about Scotty Brooks. And then to wrap it up, we hear the Dallas Mavericks parted ways with their vice president or general manager of 24 years, the guy that was responsible for Luka, Dirk, and everybody in between. Hold on, y'all. Without further ado, I got to bring in the queen of Real Talk Sports. I got to bring her in because I know she knows what to say on this summer day. Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from the DFW, it is none other than I am Valencia King. Valencia,
yes,
what
indeed. How are you?
I am fine. I am outstanding. But you know what? What in the world is going on? What in the world is going on?
I think I have breaking news. Everything is in a rye.
Valencia, I don't even know how to handle it all. It's so much. It is so much.
It is. It definitely is. It was just like every hour on the hour, one thing after the other. You think you heard something, you're like, man. Then you hear something else and you're like, man. Then you hear something else and you're like, okay, wait, man.
I'm serious. I tweeted out early yesterday morning. Did I just get a notification that Chris Paul is in the COVID protocol? And folks are like, yep. And then right after that, we get the news about Stan Van Gundy. Right after that, we get the news about Scotty Brooks. And then, of course, we get the late news about Donnie Nelson. Is Mark Cuban trying to mess up a good thing?
Okay, wait, you would consider that a good thing, the thing with Rick, Mark, and Donnie. I know we have one championship. I mean, how much do you have to qualify as a good thing?
But listen, if you brought in Dirk Nowitzki, if you brought in everybody that played with Dirk, if you brought in even behind that, brought in Luka and Kristaps and Tim Hardaway Jr. and Jay Bronson, Jay Rich, you brought in all them folks. Oh, I'm sorry, and won a chip. That's kind of big news.
Okay. If that's what qualifies as a good thing, then I will say I don't know what happened then. But I do believe it's been a long time coming that some changes are going to have to be made. I know a lot of Mavs fans that say the change that's needing to be made is Rick Carlisle. And so when Donnie Nelson's announcement happened, I said, hey, you guys, I think you're one step closer.
That could be interesting. That could have been the thing that kept Cuban from moving on from Carlisle is Donnie Nelson. Like, nope, not over my dad or my dead body.
Exactly. And I mean, we've heard this from players throughout the time of the Dallas Mavericks organization that it is truly a family. And maybe that could be to the detriment of it because it's got to be a business that runs successfully. And yes, we can acknowledge that there was a championship, all right? 10 years ago, it did happen. It's a thing that we know occurred. But since then,
man, I see where you're going. Valencia King, I am Valencia King, Real Talk Sports, and the dialogue on Instagram. I see where you're going, but it just feels like the wrong time. It feels like, but baby, things were getting better. I ain't messed up in a while. I mean, y'all were legitimately in the playoffs. Y'all were not in the play-in. Y'all were in the playoffs.
Right. You're right. I think what the Mavs did is, for those listening on air, I'm grabbing some sticky notes and I'm putting them in a hat. And I think they just mixed it up and said, boom, this is what we'll do to make everything occur, you know? But yeah, the Mavs were making strides and they still are making strides. But the thing is, you have to win a playoff series. It just has to occur. It's not like, oh, we took them to 7. You know, we had almost got there. But you have to, you got to win 4 at least.
So let me tell you how I doctored it up. The Mavericks only lost 1 road game in that whole series.
Yeah.
It's not so bad when you say it like that.
Okay, well, if you're going to change the verbiage, we can make it sound like however we need to sound. Come on, you know words mean things, all right? Just like with statistics, you know, the NBA, they have a new statistic every single hour on the hour and make it sound just so immaculate. I mean, the Mavs, I think during the regular season, I believe they were 27-0 after leading after the first quarter. Okay, and what about the playoffs?
Right. What has that gotten us? What has that gotten us? Oh, my goodness. So Cuban got in there and mutually parted ways with Donnie Nelson. You know, I got a problem with it's always they mutually parted ways with somebody. And then there's somebody else. Oh, they got fired. So-and-so was relieved of their duties. They got ushered out the building. But again, Donnie Nelson does have some success under his belt. Rick Carlisle does have some success under their belt. How much of a change do you think the organization can have and not lose the momentum that it looks like they're having?
I don't know how to answer that because they had all the momentum in the world after winning it all and dismantled everything. So I don't think they were focused on momentum. Maybe I'm just, you know, the old woman on her stoop saying, get off my lawn. But I'm still concerned about that. You won it all and you don't even keep the majority of it together to try again. That is consistently baffling to me.
Yeah. I literally forgot about that. Because it's night and day between Dallas and Houston. All right. I'm in Houston. You're up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Y'all win it all and blow it all up. The Rockets haven't won it since 94, 95, and they keep running it back. They keep bringing back the same old players with the same old coach, with the same old general manager trying to do it all over again until Tillman Fertitta comes in, and then they decide we don't want to play with him no more, so they all get out. So I get what you're saying. I guess this is long overdue. Any ideas where they could possibly go for a GM?
Honestly, not off the top of my head because if I had a better understanding of maybe where they were trying to go, then I could say who could get them there. But I don't know if they know where they're trying to go.
Wow.
They have an open GPS right now. Nothing's in the input. There's no direction nowhere.
That's crazy. GPS, like, tell where you want to go because you ain't put that in there. Right,
GPS says you are here. That's it.
What, in your opinion, because you cover the Mavs, you're there, practice games, you know, what have you. What do you think they need to go with what they have? Or what do you think that they no longer need out of what they have?
Okay. and I say this, I got to say it. I got to do my own disclaimer. I know we have the KYOK disclaimer. This is my own disclaimer. Respectfully, I know these are grown men. They're professionals.
Right.
All right.
Ma'am.
They got love for the game. They got heart. They have all of that.
Yes, ma'am.
But I think the program needs to be run like high school. I think they need to be in there doing suicides. I think they need to be running the bleachers. I think because there's just something about the Mavs that over the season, and you guys, if you follow the Mavs, you know that we've had an array of different rosters. Okay. Yeah. But over the last few seasons, it's like the Mavs almost get somewhere. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what is actually that needed extra push, but maybe if we reel it back, get back to the foundation, get back to the, okay, you messed up 2 plays, I'm taking you out. And we know Carlisle can do it. We've seen him do it.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like that's part of the change that needs to happen within the actual system of the organization. And again, respectfully, because these are grown men, they're professionals, but I think there has to be a no fear kind of factor all in. If we run it back, like just use the foundation of what got you all here. You're professionals. You're here for a reason. The league, as big as it is, it's very small. There's a limited amount of players that can be in the NBA. So you guys are the elite of the elite. So let's just get back to the basics.
Valencia King, I am Valencia King, joining us here on the lunch break. Valencia, I got to take a very quick break. But when we come back, I want to go down a list, and I want to know touchable or untouchable. We'll be right back right after this on the lunch break. It's Throwback Thursday, and I had to call in the experts. And expert number one, you, Valencia King. All right, we'll be right back with more right after this on the legendary KYOK.
Hello, this is Claude Cummings Jr., Vice President of Communication Workers of America District 6. Trey and I are inviting you to listen in to our new political talk show, Power to the People Political Hour.
Hello, this is Trey Daniels from the Daniels Group. Yes, Claude, the show will be hard-hitting and informative, talking about national and local political issues of the day, week, and month. Interviews will be with pastors, community leaders, elected officials, and political operatives. You know, Claude, a part of our responsibility is informing the citizenry and give them power to the people.
That's right, Trey. We're asking that you listen in on 1140 AM, 92.3, or streaming on KYOKradio.org, Thursdays at 10 a.m.
Give people what they want.
The legendary KYOK 1140 AM and 92.3 FM. The legend continues.
Hey guys, this is Irma J from Internal Revamp, and you're listening to AJ on the lunch break.
All right, y'all, back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all new 92.3 FM. This is your song right here. That's Southside. Because you played in this studio with some heels on and broke that thing down, did that Southside. So this your walk up right here. When you're coming up to the batting box, ladies and gentlemen, hitting 1,000 with all the home runs he wants, RBI. If you're walking up on the gym court, you know, when the lights are out and the pyro's going on, all the way from the DF Dub, it's none other than Valencia King. I am Valencia King.
Right.
Doing the South Side. Okay, we back. Throwback Thursday. We're throwing back to when the Mavericks had a whole general manager. Now they ain't got none. They ain't got none. They told Johnny Nelson, you ain't got to go home, but you need to get up out of here and don't take nothing with you. We're going to send it to you. So, Valencia, when I look at this roster, you tell me, touchable or untouchable? Finney Smith, touchable or untouchable?
Oh, that's what you're doing. Okay. All right. If I'm going off of Real Talk Sports Familia, it's untouchable, okay? That's big dough. That's fam right there. All right.
Big dough can't go. Big dough can't go. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. And also, if I'm thinking business-wise too, I think Dorian is a buildable piece. He's shown how much growth he has had over his career thus far, and he's also not afraid of the moment. He's really not. If you knew just like 7% of Dorian Finney-Smith's life story, then you would know this is nothing. He can handle whatever.
Right. He's still relatively young, 28, fourth year in the league, so there's still a lot of life left on him. And, you know, again, he did contribute quite a bit inside and outside as a stretch four. All right, Tim Hardaway Jr., touchable or untouchable?
For the Mavs, I would say untouchable because whenever you listen to the Mavericks talk, they don't really sugarcoat much. They have a very good press, media presence, and they like him. They really do. They talk about his family and his dad being at the games. They really like he's a player that comes from good stock, and the Mavs and the organization, they're all about that. So I would say untouchable.
Okay. All right. So we got two untouchables. Boban, touchable or untouchable?
I think Boban's touchable. I do. And it comes down to it that it's a business. Now, when you look at Boban as far as his fans and his just rapport with the Mavs franchise, he's just a lovable guy. But when you get down to the business of winning games, I think he's very much touchable. Yeah.
And I hate to hear Boban is definitely one of those bright, just lights up the team with his energy, with his play. Even though he looks like he's moving in slow motion, Boban is one of them guys that he's got some value on the team, even when it's not on the court. So I hear you, touchable. Kristaps Porzingis, touchable, untouchable?
I think he's touchable. I really do. I do. Because when I say that, I don't, when I said earlier about the Mavs and not knowing what direction they think they want to go in, I think that's a big factor. I think that's a big unknown. I think if the right deal comes along, he's very touchable.
So there was a published report following the season that Porzingis was disappointed that he is being used kind of like as a decoy or as a lesser factor than he should be. I thought the reporter was trying to get close to saying that there were some issues between Kristaps and Luka, and we know better than that, or do we? So what are your thoughts about that?
That's another one. When you remember them, KP came from New York, all right? The Knicks, Madison Square Garden, all right? Now, if you can make it anywhere, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. So when you listen to KP, and it's kind of like he's kind of got that essence like he's been here before. And I don't know if that's the factor, when you have players that have played overseas as well, they have been in professional leagues before, so to speak. So maybe that's it. But when you listen to KP, because I was around when he was getting asked those questions, because they would ask him directly about it, of course. And he would always have so much poise, so much composure about it. And then he would always reel it back in to say, I'm here to do what the team needs me to do. I need to get comfortable in this role. I need to do this. I need to do that. So if there was something there, you're not going to hear it from him. Unless he wanted you to.
I got you. I believe that. I totally believe that. I just feel like Porzingis, they could get so much more out of him. And I don't know if that's a Carlisle thing. I just feel like I know that dude can do a whole lot more. He ain't Kevin Durant, but doggone it, he's not Boban either. Hold that thought. We'll come back to it when we come back after this quick break. Right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK. If you want to get in, 281-453-1000. It's the lunch break.
It's a table talk with your boy, TD Blackshear, every Tuesday from 10 to 11 a.m. on the legendary KYOK, 1140 a.m. and 92.3 FM. See you there.
In need of tires? Check out OMG Tire Services and more. New and used tires, all the name brands you desire, located at 3126 Tidwell between 59 North and Jensen. Give them a call at 832-767-3211. Top-notch service from beginning to end. When you're done, get your car hand-washed inside and out at OMG Tire Services and more, located at 3126 Tidwell between 59 North and Jensen. Call 832-767-3211. That's 832-767-3211, conveniently located on the north side.
The legendary KYOK 1140 AM. The legendary KYOK 92.3 FM. Two radio stations in one.
I'm Larry Scott, host of the Not So Christian and Me Show. Join me Saturdays for great fun, interviews, music, and the latest news surrounding our world today. We are the show that cares to hear your voice and opinion with real conversation in a no judgment zone. So join me Saturdays from 1 to 2 p.m. on the Not So Christian and Me Show, right here on the legendary KYOK Radio, 1140 AM, and the all-new 92.3 FM and KYOKradio.org.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Todd Delaney, and right now you're listening to the Lunch Break Sports Talk Show with AJ on the legendary KY.
All right, Todd Delaney. Dude used to be a baseball player and decided he wanted to be a worship leader and worshiping all around the world now. So, Todd, thanks for the drop. All right, so back here on the show, appreciate all of y'all listening on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitter. And, of course, the faithful on AM 1140, 92.3, and streaming live on KYOKradio.org. It's Throwback Thursday. We got Valencia King, Real Talk Sports, and The Dialogue. Appreciate her taking time out of her busy schedule to join us. CJ says, tell Queen V that hair is right, or whatever young folks say.
Thank you, CJ. I appreciate it.
That's all right. That's real love right there. I like it. We're talking about Kristaps Porzingis, another young man, 25, 4 years in the league, 20 points, 9 rebounds a game. Surely the Mavericks aren't trying to package that off and ship that out somewhere, right?
Again, if I knew what direction, if I thought that they knew what direction they were going to go in, then I could answer that, because I really feel like it's going to be wait and see.
Yeah.
If the market was closed on KP, then you got to keep him. But I don't think it is. KP is definitely a valuable player.
I can tell you 2 teams right now that would take him in a heartbeat. And one, everybody always says, if they get him, blah, 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 blah. If the LA Lakers were to package up a couple of their bigs, send Dallas Montrezl Harrell and some other stuff for Kristaps Porzingis, you got Anthony Davis, a stretch 4, 5. You got Kristaps Porzingis, a stretch 5, and you got LeBron James. Obviously, they need a point guard or better 2 guard than Dennis Schroeder, but that changes stuff. And child, let me tell you something. If Milwaukee stops playing with Brooks Lopez and gets a guy like Kristaps Porzingis in there, it's a whole different ball game. So there's money. There are deals out there. There are teams out there that would take Kristaps. But man, I just feel like the Mavericks haven't maximized what they have in him right now.
I would absolutely agree. When you look at a guy like JaVale McGee, now I know KP and JaVale McGee are not the same players at all, but when JaVale was with the Mavs, it's kind of like, went to Golden State, got a chip, to LA, got a chip. You just have to be in the right system and with people that are going to use you to your highest potential. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, those are facts right there. So we're going to put touchable on Kristaps Porzingis. All right, let me go and say the name for purpose sake. Luka Doncic, touchable or untouchable?
I would say untouchable. I don't see a Dallas Mavericks organization where a foreign player is not the lead of their team.
Yeah. I honestly could not imagine anyone or anything replacing Dirk Nowitzki. I mean, Dirk was everything, on, off the court, everything. And when they got Luka, it's like, all right, whatever. And now it's like dope. It's like, I'm on record. Luka Doncic will be the face of the NBA when LeBron James steps away. Not Kevin Durant, not Dame Dollar, not Jason Tatum, not any of those guys. It's gonna be Luka.
Even if he doesn't get a chip, if Devin Booker or Trae Young pull something wild off and get this chip, you still think it's gonna be Luka? Who hasn't got a playoff series under his belt?
Watch this now. You got to understand that those are moments when Dame wins one, if Devin wins one this season, if Trae Young pulls it off. Trae Young is NWO. Luka is going to be Hulk Hogan when he was in the yellow and the red and the multicolor. But Trae is NWO. Trae is the Wolf Pack. You know what I'm saying? So the NBA is going to play that, but you best believe Luka's face is going to be on the front of the organization every chance they get.
And it's not that I disagree. It's just, to me, even locally with the city of Dallas, I just felt like they gave Luka the keys to the city way too soon. Like Dirk Nowitzki had to earn.
Pause real quick and go back and run back what you just said.
Yes, locally here in Dallas, I believe through and through that Luka was handed the keys to the city way too soon. And that's no fault to him. Right. That's just what was given to him. Like
they're gonna do the same thing in the NBA. They're gonna do the same thing, and whether he earned it, whether he deserves it, all of that. Look at the tenor around the nation right now. Look at the flow and the attitude of what's going on right now. They kill a lot of birds with one stone. Are we allowed to even say that anymore? Killing birds with rocks and stuff. Listen, they take care of a lot of different buckets with one player right there. A lot of different buckets. They appeal to the international market. They appeal to their conservative market. They appeal to their urban market. Luka Doncic checks all those boxes, whether he wins a chip or not. And then let's slide into conspiracy theorists who think that the league dictates who gets a chip. Ain't gonna be long for them to get him one. Ain't gonna be long.
Okay, I would love to see it, but again, I can't tell which direction because like you said, people think that there are conspiracies and the NBA controls who wins a chip. If that were the case, then I would agree that it won't be long for Luka to get one. But the league's not gonna get any easier. It's just not. And like the last time I was on the show, Golden State, okay, yeah, they weren't here these last couple of years. Best believe they're on their way back.
Oh, they're coming back.
Yeah. So I agree with you that Luka can definitely and probably will be the face of the NBA. But again, to me, I'm just kind of like, it's handed way too soon.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Kleber, touchable, untouchable.
That's a good one. I would probably say touchable. I'm probably like touchable 51%, untouchable 49%.
Powell, that's an interesting one. Touchable or untouchable?
I would say untouchable because Powell's the longest tenured player on the Mavs roster right now. And he's another one that doesn't have to stardom like Luka does, but another player that, like you were saying, checks off all the boxes. He's a solid dude. He is involved in the community. You never hear about him in any kind of scandals or anything like that. When he's on the court, he's going to do what he can do. And when he's not, he's still going to support his teammates.
Interesting thing about Powell, I'm concerned about at some point he's going to be on an expiring contract. That is as valuable in the NBA as anything else. And I would hate to see him get moved on because of his longevity and his commitment to the organization. That's that business side of it. I stuck with you. I'm not on maximum dollar. I got an expiring contract. So now I'm a trade chip as opposed to somebody that we want to, keep and take care of. Yeah.
But I guarantee you, if they do move on from Dwight Powell, wherever he goes, you'll see him shine even more. I think it's one of those stories because the Mavs have so many players that once they leave Dallas, they just shine so bright.
Well, if you only counted down how many players from the Rockets are in the playoffs right now, it was like, well, what did y'all do with them when they were here? So I hear you.
I do that every postseason with the Mavs. It's like a game. It's a fun game.
Yeah, that's right. It must be a Texas thing, state of Texas thing. All right, Jay Rich, touchable or untouchable?
I would say Jay Rich is touchable. He's only been here for a season. I do think Carlisle likes him because he obviously used him as a starter over Tim Hardaway Jr. But I think he's touchable.
I got to read a comment to you. I'm gonna show it for the listening audience to see it because that one is pretty strong. Jay Brunson, touchable or untouchable?
I would say untouchable because he seemingly can. Now in the playoffs, I'm not exactly sure what happened. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't know what happened. He kind of went away for a little bit, but he seemingly is doing what a JJ Barea used to do for the Mavs. When he is able to come in the game and impact it with that second unit. So
yeah. And then last but certainly not least, Trey Burke, touchable, untouchable.
He's touchable. He's definitely touchable. And I think it's another guy that, given the opportunity somewhere else, would definitely shine.
Okay. A guy that didn't get much run, Cauley Stein and JJ Redick.
Yeah, JJ, obviously we got him and he's still recovering from an injury. I think since he's fresh, like, last one in, first one out, I think he's touchable. Willie Cauley-Stein, I think, is definitely touchable. And when I think about Willie, when I think about KP, when I think about a Dwight, these are guys that are valuable. And they will indeed have that JaVale McGee story of leaving the Mavs and getting a chip.
Right. I agree. All right. So somebody near and dear to your heart, Shirley Walker King, said, I'm going there. Is that white privilege? Is that the league's supporters trying to slide Luka in as the new age Larry Bird? Not that Luka's not good, but he ain't great yet. I agree. He hadn't earned any of that yet. He's been fun to watch on his way, whatever you can say. I go back to Luka checks a lot of different boxes. And I think the league can look back and would have preferred to have made Larry Bird the face of the franchise, but they had too many other players that allowed, they couldn't do that. Same thing with Dirk. Too many other players wouldn't allow them to do that. And being a foreign player, the timing wasn't right yet. The timing is right.
It
For
is.
an international player with Luka's skills, looks, you name it, and he's so young, they can make money off of that for a long time. It's almost like they can totally rebrand the league going with Luka, because you don't have the China hate with LeBron. You don't have the shut up and play with LeBron. You don't have KD, doing whatever God's sake KD does, with the burner accounts and the da-da-da-da-da. Luka is a safe bet all the way around several different areas.
He is, and it would be interesting to see if he stays that way, because to me it's a little bit easier to be safe if you're Luka when you're younger, when he's at he's only like 22, but once he starts growing into this league and is actually winning playoff series and even winning a chip, things might change.
Yeah.
He might say a little bit more. He might have a little different tone in his voice. So if the NBA is all in on him, you just hope it doesn't, quote unquote, backfire for the business of it. But I mean, Luka's, these are all grown men, so they're going to grow into themselves anywhere.
Yeah. I ain't saying they'll be doing the right thing about doing it. I just can see them doing it. I really do.
Right.
I can see them doing it. So, all right. So we've got a number of players that you said were touchable. Looking around the league, who would you want alongside Luka and the untouchable players? And this is your shopping spree. Money is not an option, an issue. Who would you want to see in Dallas?
See, here's the thing. I don't know if it's necessarily about, I don't know if the primary thing is who can work well with Luka. I think who can Carlisle work well with. Because Carlisle is an old school coach. And there's not a lot of old school players left.
Yeah.
And the new school players, they have a little different tone in their voice. They have a little bit of different chip on their shoulder. They operate a little bit different. And so I don't know if the priority, like I said, would be who can match well with Luka, who can deal with Rick, who can handle how he coaches.
That's valid. I mean, if you look at, and I'm definitely not putting Rick Carlisle and Tom Thibodeau on the same level. Carlisle's got a chip. Thibodeau, got a chip as an assistant coach. So, but Thibodeau's old school of coaching and practice and getting on guys and what have you, it hadn't worked in a couple of different places. Mm-hmm. He got into New York, and he's got an owner that's got that old school mentality. He wants to see somebody go hard on these players. Boy, I had to choose my words carefully. Wants to see a coach go hard on these players and hold them accountable and make sure that it's more about basketball than their brand and their agent and their endorsements and their causes and things like that. You got some guys that bought into it in there in New York, and you see the turnaround. That doesn't work everywhere. So I get what you're saying. Folks don't have to come to Dallas. If they got a choice, and you got Carlisle there, and you got somebody like Steve Nash or Steve Kerr or some of these other more modern coaches, if you will,
right?
Who are you gonna choose?
Yeah, I think when you look at how players talk about a Steve Kerr, a Steve Nash, even a Ty Lue,
Right.
a lot of the verbiage is he lets us play our game.
Right.
We may not run as many plays. We kind of know our own system.
Yeah.
That's not really Carlisle.
That ain't none of Carlisle. That ain't in his DNA. His system would overload if somebody said that about him. Like, I did what?
He was like, you lied on me and told them I did what? Carlisle with the X's and
I heard
O's.
Trae Young say last night that Nate McMillan allows him to call more plays late in games, and he appreciated having a coach that believed in him and knew that he would get his team in the right situation. And I'm thinking to myself, I bet there ain't a whole lot of teams doing that with a third, fourth-year player in the NBA. That said something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. I would agree. I don't think there's many that would do that with a third or fourth year player, starting with Carlisle. It's just non-existent.
Right.
To me, again, I'm not inside. Well, before COVID, we were in the locker room, but I wasn't in this, the locker room and the practices like that. So, on the outside looking in. But yeah, I think that's going to be the main kicker here is you have to, whatever players the Mavericks are considering, whoever they go after, they just need to be straight up honest in those meetings to say, listen, the priority, yes, we know you can work. We know you can work well with Luka. Can you deal with Carlisle? And not in a negative way. It's just, you got to be compatible to some degree. It's still a business, so you don't have to like or love everybody, but you still got to make things work. And I know Mavs fans hate to talk about this, but with the DeAndre Jordan situation, maybe somebody didn't tell the truth in the meeting, and that's why nothing was actually signed. So I need to tell the truth in the meeting.
Yeah, I hear you. So would you rather have, we got Valencia King, Real Talk Sports. I am Valencia King joining us on the show. Would you rather have big name or role player come in via free agency? Big name, of course, a Kawhi Leonard, Dame Lillard, some of the other guys out there that could move on. I mean, a lot of folks are, your boy Giannis could move on here eventually.
Right.
So would you prefer a big name or solid role players in Dallas?
I think role players are the best option because no matter how big of a name you get, your name's not going to be bigger than Luka. And if a player can't handle everything that comes with being the second big name, then it's just not going to work. Because, you have to there is an adjustment period, of course. But when we look at how the season plays out, you can't take too long of an adjustment period. Because those times when you're adjusting, you get a couple losses here, a couple losses there. Those add up when you get down to the end of the season. So if you were spending too much time adjusting, but dang, man, we got it right in March, it's too late.
Yeah,
it's too late.
True. That's true. Valencia King. I got to take another quick break. When I come back, I got to read another comment from Shirley Walker King. She's on fire, and I love it. I love it. We'll do that when we come back. Throwback Thursday here on the lunch break. You can also text me with your comments or questions, 832-403-5005. That's 832-403-5005. Or email me, aj@kyoksports.com. Be right back.
1140 AM and 92.3 FM. The legendary KYOK.
If your loved one has passed away due to COVID-19, pay close attention to this message. You could be entitled to a death benefit of over $300,000. The U.S. government has set up a fund to pay families relief if they've lost a loved one due to COVID-19. We know this is a hard time for you, and this fund has been set up by the federal government to help ease your pain. The compensation includes a death benefit and lost wages benefit. Time is limited, so we urge you to make a free phone call right now. There's no cost to you for this claim. All legal fees are only covered once you receive your money. So if you've lost a loved one due to COVID-19, call the legal helpline right now to find out if you qualify for a cash award. Here's our number, 800-876-7047, 800-876-7047, 800-876-7047. That's 800-876-7047. Paid for by the IPG Law Group.
This is Tamara Fuentes.
And Teddy Stevens with Chosen Hoops.
And we're at KYOK at the lunch break with AJ Jones, the number one and only.
Yeah.
Hey!
Hey! All right, we back here on the lunch break. Legendary KYOK. All new 92.3 FM, streaming live KYOKradio.org. Broadcasted on Facebook, on the Lunch Break Facebook page, on YouTube, The Lunch Break with AJ, and on Twitter at Lunch Break KYOK. See, I should have done like Valencia King, just made everything. I am Valencia King, and that would have been all right. That would have been all right.
It works.
I gotta wait for you to sell that handle so I can put some chips together and get it.
Okay. Keep waiting.
Keep waiting, right?
Listen, it's a whole thing over here. Okay?
Oh my gosh! What is that and where's mine? What is that and where is mine?
We will get one to you.
Is that a mask? I think I got a mask. Yes. I did. Is that something else? You got something?
A mask. It's a mask.
Okay, all right. I got my mask. I need to wear my mask. I had my shirt on the other day. Yeah. I'll be rocking the gear, man. Anytime you come out, I need to be your brand spokesperson or something. You know what I mean? For the guy. Yeah. You know,
we'll make it happen.
Let me keep reading Shirley Walker King stuff so I can act like I might help me out in the long run. Shirley Walker King said Luka got the keys to the city while he had his driver's permit, not the state-issued full license. That's why Kawhi Leonard offered him his jersey as he wished him good luck in the next season. It was a way of saying you still in the learning season. But Shirley
when PG. See, listen. And again, respectfully, these are all grown men. These are professionals. Whoop de whoop. That's my own personal disclaimer. But it's not Luka's fault he was given the keys to the city. It's just what they did. But when Paul George offered him the jersey, it just looked away. It did. Yeah. And then later the reports were that, Luka didn't have on an undershirt. They still exchanged jerseys after the game. Listen, say what you want. Luka didn't take that jersey in public. So, that's it. It could have been the undershirt thing. It could have been whatever. I'm just saying what occurred.
Yeah. That's why we got y'all, man, because you know what you're talking about. You in there. So real quick, before this hour expires, first, Kevin Durant and Milwaukee a couple of nights ago when Durant just went to a whole nother stratosphere and just played out of his mind. What were your thoughts in that game about Milwaukee blowing a lead like that and how Kevin Durant just never let up?
I think it comes down to KD has been here before. Okay. He's a champion.
Okay.
They talk about how he got it, whatever. The point is he's been to the promised land. And when you've done it, you know what it takes to get there. Giannis is still trying to get there. Yeah. Is he getting better? Absolutely. You can't deny that. But he still has not been there. And so I think that's the edge that KD or any champion will have over Giannis until he gets to the promised land. And that's with any player. If you haven't been there, you just haven't been there. You can't, there's no way around it.
You can't fake championship mentality. Either you have it or you don't. Yeah, you can't fake
it. Exactly. Yeah. And so one would hope that Milwaukee can, push past it. But when Portland, and I hated to see it, when Portland lost that 15 overtime game and they just couldn't get back over the hump, and I hated to see that because I love Portland, Dame, CJ, all of those guys. But that could be the same situation, for Milwaukee. And I don't know. I just don't know. But KD has been there before. And we have to remember, KD's had scrutiny his whole career. All right. So I believe he knows how to block out the noise and just lock in with him and his team and do what needs to be done. So it's, again, that championship mentality. I don't know. We'll have to see if Milwaukee can get to the promised land.
Mm-hmm. If they don't, and I got two things that came out of what you just said. Let me finish the Milwaukee part. If they don't, is Budenholzer gone, in your opinion?
I don't know, but if I had to just 50-50 it, I would probably say yes, because I don't think he's like in a position of Carlisle where Carlisle can do no wrong. Right. I think he's touchable, as you were saying earlier.
Yep. I like that. Going back to the Portland thing, C.J. McCollum, all intents and purposes, is out. Would he be a good fit in Dallas, in your opinion?
I think he would. I think he would, because his demeanor as a player, we've seen him be number 2 to Dame.
Right.
So he can do that, you know. And even with his, off the court, involved in his community, I think he has his own wine company, he's got I don't know if he has kids, but I know he has a wife and like a family and whatnot, but he's never, in the headlines for anything scandalous.
Yeah,
and when it comes to the Mavericks organization, it's still fresh from the organization outside of the players, just the actual corporate side of organization, everything that they were the headlines for. So they know they don't need any more scandals coming in. So I think CJ would be a good fit.
That's funny. We don't want a guy like you, but you're just like a guy like me.
Exactly.
Valencia King, I am Valencia King, joining us on the lunch break. So then we had the big thing, a couple of nights ago with Kevin Durant and Milwaukee. And then last night we almost saw part 2 of that with Paul George stepping up in a big way, 37 points, 16 rebounds, and willing his team to a win, in Utah without Kawhi Leonard. What were your thoughts on playoff Paul, playoff PG, or whatever they want to call
playoff
it?
Playoff B. And listen, I actually saw someone on my timeline say, they're like, oh, let me save all of my slander tweets and just save them to drafts for PG. Because obviously PG is like, no, he shut everybody up. What else? What are you going to say now? And and Paul George is another one. He was very vocal about the bubble situation and making sure his mental health was intact. And so I think when you have someone who's been vocal about, their mental space, their mental headspace, they have that ability to zone out and block out everything else and just lock in and do what needs to be done. It's like, when you're in a situation, okay, Kawhi is out, like he not out for a little bit. He not gonna be back in like 15. Okay, let me the tables turn. You know what you have to do. You have to get into that different mode. And although PG has not been to the promised land, he has just been here a little longer. He still, to me, is kind of like in the old school role of players that cut from a different cloth, just a little bit. He's not fully old school like a Matt Barnes in the stack, but he was around for it.
Okay, and that's what I saw last night. I saw Paul George from Indiana when they was giving LeBron James and them a run for their money.
Exactly.
Back before Andre Iguodala was a warrior. You know what I mean? So,
yes.
Rob Parker, award-winning journalist, put out a Paul George apology form to Paul from fill in the blank, date fill in the blank, reason for behavior, check. The media convinced me he was done. I miss Shy too much. I was jealous of Paul George. I didn't watch the actual games. I don't know basketball, or Mercury was in my retrograde.
No, it's sincere. That I know a lot of people that need to sign and date on the dotted line, and not just Paul George. We can even take it back to Carmelo Anthony. It's just people and fans. It's like you can't put too many expectations on fans in that regard, because that's what fans do. And so it kind of comes down to just if you're going to listen to what the fans say or not, because you can say, oh, the media told me this. Yeah, the media, some is like a mass conglomerate, if you will. It just depends on who you're listening to and how they present, whatever stories they're covering. But yeah, I mean, fans are going to fan. And there's quite a few that should be signing and dating on the dotted line.
Normally, I will read a prepared statement. Don't take any questions after it. I don't have one for Paul George because I never came from. I did mine about Clint Capella. I apologize. And I'm almost kind of ready to do one for James Harden. I mean, he didn't show out the other night, but his 8 assists and his 43 minutes on the court was that extra ingredient that made everything taste right. It helped them get that win in Brooklyn. And you can't call James Harden soft no more. You can't say it's all about him, and he can't play well as a number 3 versus being a number 1. So all of those things were on display the other night versus Milwaukee.
Yeah, I would completely agree, and that's kind of like when you look at James Harden, you don't really know what to expect when he was coming back because people were still questioning if he should have come back. But when you're in a situation where you are, again, he has not won it all, and he is trying to get there, so you might do things a little bit differently. And as people can say what they want about him and CP3 and how it did or didn't work, having CP3 on your team does elevate you and your game.
Yep.
So. Yep. I can easily say that, his time as having CP3 can also prepare him for that moment.
That's good. I
like that. I enjoyed what I saw, and it seemed like he was stepping up to do whatever needed to be done. It's kind of like you wouldn't have wanted him to try to take over a game. One, we don't know if you really should be in this game. Two, KD's on a mission. I just need you to assist.
Baby. That's one of those ones. That's one of the ones. Leave me with the grenade. You go ahead and finish the mission. I'll blow this up over here. And it's like, man, I'm telling you, KD, don't get in his way. Help him get where he's trying to get. That being said, who wraps it up tonight? Does Milwaukee live to fight another day, or does the Brooklyn Nets go ahead and wrap it up and move on to the Eastern Conference Finals?
I think the Brooklyn Nets have the advantage because, like I said, seeing Portland not being able to get over that hump, I don't know if Milwaukee can. They're still, if they do, that's cool, that's great. But the look that KD had in his eye, listen, they I don't know if Milwaukee is a praying team. I don't know if they a fasting team.
They better call on the ancestors or something, god dog. They better call on every name in the book. I'm just telling you. Let me say this though. I mean, let me be on the other side of the coin. I'm a numbers guy. I'm a math guy. And I love numbers. It's hard to imagine Kevin Durant having that kind of output and efficiency 2 games in a row. For me, I could be wrong, and I probably am. Normally I say I could be wrong, but I doubt it. But I could be wrong. I probably am. What are your thoughts on the possibility of him duplicating what he did the other night?
I think it's very possible because all they're going to do is look at the tape and run it back. Obviously, I would assume they're going to look at the tape and see everything that was working for them and run it back. You would think Milwaukee would do the same and try to change some things, but we already know KD is not really guardable to begin with.
Yeah, that's true.
And if he was able to do that with not no assists from other people, so Milwaukee, if you're Milwaukee, who do you try to shut down? Jeff Green? All right. Okay.
Yeah, but Jeff Green can't get 27 again tonight. You give Jeff Green all them points again tonight, you're going to lose. So,
yeah, exactly.
Let me ask you a question, though. Why won't they put Giannis on Durant? Why, especially late in the game when you got a chance to win it? That's why Bud, to me, Budenholzer gets go. Like, what are you doing, bro? You can't do that. You got the legit candidate for Defensive Player of the Year right there. Like, right there. He's right there. And then go Durant over there. Put him together. Get on him. Get him.
Did you see Twitter after that game? CJ McCollum, Bradley Beal, Draymond Green. Oh my God.
Even Ja Morant was like, wait, what?
Yes, and rightfully so. I think we're all asking the same question. I think Giannis might have to ask himself the same question because if you're to the point to where it's like, no, if I guard KD, then he's gonna get an easy basket or something. If you just feel like you can't do it, then that's part of the problem. Because even some people might say this is what's wrong with Draymond, but there's nothing Draymond feel he can't do.
Yeah, that's true. Draymond ain't suffering from low self-esteem. That's definitely true. Real quick, Atlanta and Philly tomorrow night, 6:30 in Atlanta. Win or go home for Philly. What happens?
I think Atlanta pulls it out. We know that Doc Rivers has been in these positions, but I think Atlanta is young and hungry, and they're not going to let this opportunity slip. Like when the Mavs had the chance to send them home at home, but they didn't do it. I don't think Atlanta's letting this one fade away. And honestly, I think Doc Rivers looking stressed might be the new Michael Jordan crying emoji.
Hold on. I got something. Just it's Throwback Thursday, right?
Yes,
That's my head coach, man. That's my head coach. You ain't being fair, man. When you say what you want to say, you ain't being fair. That's my head coach, man.
Listen, man. Listen, man, it's tough. It's tough because it's kind of like with the Warriors. The dynasties have to fall. The gods have to fall. And I know this is Christian station, so again, using gods loosely here. But Doc Rivers,
Lil G.
Lil G. You know, Doc Rivers is one of those guys, one of those coaches that I do believe is going to be, you know, his name will be in lights, you know, for what he did do. But these new players, these new young cats, these new younger coaches. And let's just remember the city of Atlanta. Outside of basketball, it's the city of Atlanta.
Yeah. I just hate for Doc. You know what I mean? Because this ain't gonna never leave him. And I tell people to be careful getting rid of the Doc Rivers of the world. Because, you know, I'm from Cincinnati, born and raised in Cincinnati. They didn't like Dusty Baker. They got rid of him. Couldn't win in the playoffs. They ain't been to the playoffs since. They ain't got to worry about it no more. They didn't like Marvin Lewis. Can't win in the playoffs. They ain't got to worry about it no more. They got rid of Marvin Lewis. They can't spell playoffs. So real quick and then fast in a hurry, before you get rid of these guys that at least get you there, make sure you got somebody that can get you where you want to be, because these young hot coaches ain't always what it is.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
that's all I can say is you're right.
You know, all people hit me with the stats. Oh, Doc, this, that. So according to the Brad Stevens model of how to fall up, Doc Rivers ought to be in line for the general manager or vice president of everything basketball in Philadelphia after this season. Right.
No, I think you're right. I don't know if it'll happen, of course. But honestly, do we think Doc would take that role? Because I think Doc still enjoys this game of coaching. Like, it's clear. So would he step aside in that way, or would he just find another team to coach for?
Yeah, but there've been plenty of teams for him to coach for. In fact, let the Mavericks get rid of Rick Carlisle. You better have Doc Rivers on your list.
Yep. And even though Philly lost, Seth Curry, another former Dallas Maverick, leave the Mavs and go out there shining. Just do what Curry's do.
Went there and balled out. Valencia, I got to hit the top of the hour. I know you got other things to do, but hold on. Let me hit this top of the hour so we can sign off properly together. All right. Valencia King, I am Valencia King right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK.
The legendary 1140 AM KYOK Conroe and 92.3 FM K222CX Houston.
The views and opinions expressed on all radio shows broadcast on KYOK are entirely those of the hosts, guests, and callers, who are entirely responsible for all show content and do not in any way reflect the opinions of KYOK Radio, its sponsors, staff, or management.
All right, y'all, back here on the lunch break. Got a shout out to my long-term friends up there in Cincinnati, Ohio, Amy Boucher Castro, her son, Matthew, big-time sports fan up there in the Natty. Hey, Matthew. All right, so, man, Valencia King, goodness. I just don't even know what to say. So much happened yesterday, including the Donnie Nelson thing. Scott Brooks out in Washington.
Yeah.
You know, Stan Van Gundy out in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
If Doc don't survive in Philly, he's gonna be out of work for just a little while longer. It ain't gonna be long.
It's not.
Yeah, there's no way you can have as many openings as you can have. Imagine Doc Rivers coaching Giannis. Imagine that. Imagine him working with that Milwaukee team.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. I really think that Doc, regardless of what has happened in his past, he's got more positive things in his future. You know, everybody convinced me Brad Stevens was the man. I ain't never seen it on the court, but apparently it was so good they decided to promote it. Doc Rivers ain't going down; he's going up.
Yeah. I think he definitely has to going up or going to a different team, because when he said Doc Rivers coaching Giannis in Milwaukee, that's a different Milwaukee. That's a different Milwaukee. Like I said earlier, with the Mavs organization and running lines and doing bleachers, that's a different Milwaukee.
I'm just saying.
Then I think we see Giannis guarding KD.
You know, because Doc will look at you like, you gonna get him or what? Are you gonna get him?
Go get him?
Because Doc is about that life. But let's tell everybody where they can find you, follow you, and all the great stuff you're working on.
Yeah, of course. So I am Valencia King, and everyone can follow me across all social media sites at I am Valencia King because, well, hey, I am Valencia King. See what I did there? And also, I want to say happy Father's Day to you, Uncle AJ, and to all the fathers. I know that is going to be an amazing day and weekend for you all. So just happy Father's Day to everyone who will be celebrating. And also, we are doing the dialogue special episodes of Celebrating Fathers that'll be posting up next week. So be looking forward to that. That'll be on my YouTube channel, which is Valencia King TV. And basically what that is I'm talking to fathers about fatherhood. And so if you missed it last June, we had, of course, Uncle AJ on there too. David Grubb was on there once. And we just had amazing conversations. We had fathers who had adopted children, who had premature twins, who had, blended families, who are working through co-parenting, all of the different situations that can go on when you become a father. So these conversations are definitely important, and I'm excited to continue them. So be sure to follow me social media-wise at I am Valencia King, so you guys can be in the midst and get to enjoy the chats with us.
I tell you what, I love everything you're doing. I love you. So you keep being great. And let's see where you're going up next. All right.
All right now. I hear you. I receive it.
Valencia King, y'all. I am Valencia King. Have a great rest of your day. Tell mom, dad, everybody I said what's up though.
Will do. Y'all take care.
All right, y'all. I appreciate her. I mean, she knows her stuff, and it's going to be interesting to see what the Dallas Mavericks do next. They parted ways yesterday with their long-time general manager, Donnie Nelson. Again, the guy responsible for bringing in Dirk Nowitzki, leading them to winning a chip, bringing in Luka and Kristaps and everybody else. Mark Cuban ready to move on from him. Very interested to see how long they will stick with their head coach, Rick Carlisle. Of course, last night we did see some interesting things happen in the NBA. Atlanta overcame a 26-point deficit to come all the way back and beat the Philadelphia 76ers 109-106. And one of my colleagues, Dr. Aki Davis, posted out, okay, how many of y'all thought that that Atlanta was going to win? I'll wait. I said if Atlanta can cut it to 10 at the 6-minute mark, they had a shot. Well, they cut it to 10 and went on and won the whole doggone thing. So, but without further ado, let me bring in the next expert that we got to talk about this kind of stuff. It is this dude right here. Oh, hold on. Do I have the wrong? I do. I got the wrong track in, man. You got to forgive me. I got to get your intro right. But without further ado, it is the founder, the host, the creator, and all of that of Houston Roundball Review. Local name, national perspective. It is Mr. Kris Gardner. Brother, what it do, baby?
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right, man.
I'm doing great. Got some big news today and all that kind of stuff. Been typing that up last few minutes. There it is. That's it. Yes, sir. Yep.
Kris M. Gardner. Yeah, you go, brother. Yeah, you go. Hold on, man. Before you get in it good. Now, what did you do at your sister's party?
I sang "Can You Stand the Rain." That's right. Karaoke, baby.
Okay, hold on. Do I need to get the instrumental track together for you? What I need to do?
Well, as I put on Facebook, tune in Friday night live stream. I'll be doing some more singing right there. So yeah.
I ain't waiting for that. No, bro. I ain't waiting for that.
That's a teaser in the show business. Teaser.
I ain't waiting for that. I need to get a little taste now. The lunch breakers need a little taste now, man. We family, bro. We family.
This is true, but I gotta have something for the people tomorrow to tune in on the live stream with Will
just give them a different verse. Andy. You give them a different verse than the one you do for us today.
I'm thinking about a few songs. I might sing some. I might do something. Can You Stand the Rain? I might do a line from something new, like a Heartbreak Anniversary. I'm trying to study how to sing that. How I'm gonna do that. So yeah, I might mix it up a little bit. It's a line here and there. On a perfect day. you know how it is. Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Hold on, bro.
Love unconditional. I'm not asking this of you, you know. Yeah, I know how it goes. Ain't happening, bro. Ain't happening. Nope.
Now, are you Ralph or are you Johnny? Which one
I'm
are you?
JG. I'm JG. I'm JG. Will told me I'm JG. And
okay. So I got to get in my soprano falsetto.
So yeah, the older I've gotten, my voice has gotten deeper. So yeah, I was Ralph when I was in high school, when I was in school choir, and stuff like that. But yeah, me and Ricky Bell. Yep. I had a nice falsetto. I was first tenor. So yeah.
I can't believe you not just ripping it right now, bro. I can't believe you.
I was almost all city in city choir.
Man, lunch breakers. It's a sad day on the show today. I thought Kris Gardner
7 p.m. tomorrow. Tune in.
I thought Kris was gonna rip it for us, and man. Okay, all right, man. Well, look, what else you want to talk about?
You know, I might do it at the end of my time here on the show today. Who knows, man? You know,
I'll keep that track handy just in case.
I don't need the track, man. I can sing a line or two, you know, without the music. Yeah.
Don't try this at home. He's a professional. Brother, I thought we were going to jump on talking about, you know, Kevin Durant a couple of nights ago in Milwaukee. I thought we were going to jump on talking about Atlanta yesterday and Utah and the Clippers. But, man, the Chris Paul thing, unbelievable. Stan Van Gundy, unbelievable.
No, that was quite believable.
Well,
the CP thing was believable, unbelievable.
And right on time. Let me get the entire panel on here. Valencia King jumped on in the first hour and held it down for us, but we got two of the best in the business to help make sense of all this basketball stuff. Is Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review, and David Grubb, Hard in the Paint, you know, covers Tulane basketball and got some real good articles up on MLBBro.com. Love that article you did on Michael Brantley, by the way. Really enjoyed that. Before you jumped on, we just said Chris Paul, unbelievable. I said Stan Van Gundy, unbelievable. Kris said, no, Stan Van Gundy was very believable, and then you jumped on. Tell us why it is or isn't a shock or surprise that New Orleans walked away from Van Gundy after just one season.
Well, there's two reasons. Number one is that ultimately he didn't get along with Zion Williamson in one way or another. If you don't make Zion happy, Pelicans know that they have a chance to lose him, and that chance really is more than what people think. The Athletic put out an article this morning and talked about just how deeply dysfunctional the Pelicans are. And what's sad is a lot of us knew these things going in. You just don't. This was it because of the lack of access you've had this year. You couldn't get enough verification of things to really report on them, even though you were hearing the whispers behind the scenes. A lot of the bristling, though, for Stan is that, look, they had a players coach in Alvin Gentry. And so David Griffin decided he wanted to go the opposite way and get somebody who was more disciplinarian, more of a tactician in that regard, somebody who's going to hold the young guys accountable. Well, at the same time, Griffin is above this whole thing, telling Stan how he wants minutes distributed, telling him how he wants people to play, which never works. Right. So Stan was upset with David Griffin. Stan was upset with the team because the players were not committing to anything on the defensive end. Remember, this was the worst defense in the history of the franchise for the first 50-plus games. In the history of the franchise for the first 50-plus games. So he was upset with them in that regard. He didn't have practice time, so that made him even more upset because Stan is a practice person. Y'all know this. Stan is a practice comes when you come out of that Miami culture, practice is everything.
Yep.
And he didn't get any of that. He also didn't get the roster that he wanted. Remember, Drew Holiday asked out before the season. JJ Redick asked out before the season.
Yep.
Okay. So that wasn't on Stan. That wasn't on Stan. Drew didn't like the timeline. JJ didn't like the timeline. He felt they weren't any closer to winning than they were the year before. And he was right. And everybody in New Orleans who was writing about that team. knew he was right. So it wasn't even a question when we talked the first time about what less than a year ago, whether Stan was the fit. It doesn't matter who the coach is, because going forward, if you are not on the same page with David Griffin, if you're not on his agenda, it doesn't matter what your agenda is, because we saw that with Alvin, who supposedly was his friend, who had a 20-plus year relationship with him. And he had no problem throwing Alvin under the bus at the end of that thing with a pandemic, without having Zion for more than half the season. And they won one fewer game than they did this year. So you tell me how bad Alvin really did if he took all the problems he had last year and was only one game worse than this group, which was more experienced, had Zion for 60-plus games this season, had Brandon Ingram, had Lonzo Ball healthy for the majority of this season, and they were worse. They were worse. So to me, this is about the organization. Zion's family sees it. There are other players who see it. JJ Redick talked about it out the door. People tried to make him a villain, and I said, JJ might not have handled it right, but what he said was correct. Right. I think that's what we really have to look at and examine the 2 years of David Griffin and say, for a person who's been given more than any executive in this league over the last 2 years, you've been handed more gifts to start from. This was not the Orlando Magic rebuilding. This was a team that had the #1 pick in Zion Williamson, had the best trade asset in the league in Anthony Davis, had Drew Holiday, who was an all-NBA defender and a guy who can get you 20 points a game, and you got Eric Bledsoe for him.
That's true.
And then on top of that, your free agent signings, Derek Favors spends 1 year with you, goes back to Utah, and is a vital part of them making a playoff run. You get Steven Adams, and now you're talking about you want to trade him. Well, you just gave up assets for Steven Adams and signed him to a 2-year extension. And now you're talking about you want to trade Eric Bledsoe. Well, you just traded for Eric Bledsoe, and everybody told you that he was not going to fit, because you don't send a guy from a team that was a step away from the NBA Finals back to a team that's trying to get into the 10th spot.
Right.
It doesn't work like that. So this is on David Griffin more than anybody else.
Man.
Amen.
Tell us how you really feel, David.
Amen, David. Amen.
Yeah. In my business, we say the doors of the church are open. Is there one? I mean, it's over. It's over. It was still shocking to me, the timing. Some teams are mindful of the NBA playoffs and don't want to steal the narrative. I guess New Orleans was real fed up because they had to let everybody know Stan Van Gundy had to go.
Yeah, but you see when they picked to drop that, after the CP3 news came down, after the Kawhi news came down, because nobody was really talking about it. It wasn't the lead on ESPN yesterday because people were worried about Kawhi and CP3 and LeBron talking about injuries. And whether or not the Philly's going to, be embarrassed again. So the Pelicans news dropped way down on the ladder. They knew what they were doing. And then when David Griffin comes out at 3 p.m. with his press conference and is talking about family and talking about we need to have the right kind of culture where we support each other and can be honest with each other. This is basketball, man. It's business. There are no families here. Loyalty is to who's paying the check and who do I feel comfortable with. You can't build a family in the NBA. You can't do it. You can't do it in professional sports. You can't do it in business. There's no family. Everybody is as loyal as their options at that moment and what they feel their best circumstances are. And David Griffin clearly has shown. You had a man with 3 years left on his contract and you fired him and you put your owner in position to pay 2 coaches not to work in 3 years. And knowing that if you don't make at least a decent run this year, not being chased for 9-10, because you missed the playoffs in 2 seasons where 66% of your conference gets in the playoffs and you still couldn't get in, that's on management. That's on nobody but management.
Which gets to my next question. How long before Ms. Benson decides to move on from David Griffin?
This is the year. He's got this year. Because if the Pelicans don't make a run this year, I firmly believe Zion Williamson will tell them he has no intention of signing his extension. Now, you still will have control of him for the next 2 years after that, sure. But you'll know that he's gone. In one way or another, he's out the door. And his father has already told people he never wanted his dad is the one that his stepfather is the one who never wanted Zion to come in the first place. This is eerily similar to what happened with Anthony Davis, and not just in the fact that Anthony Davis wanted to go. I know Anthony Davis's first agent, and I know people near him who told me that they told Anthony never to sign his first extension with the Pelicans because they did not believe the organization was ever going to be good. Chris Paul, when he left, told people that the Pelicans as owners were not going to be good owners. He didn't have a problem with New Orleans. He had a problem with ownership. And I think that's the thing that ultimately is what's going on in New Orleans, that ownership doesn't know what it's doing on the basketball side. They've entrusted a guy whose entire resume is built on being success adjacent. He didn't really cause any success. He's been near it. He didn't bring LeBron back to Cleveland.
No, he didn't.
He didn't win 3 lotteries because of his skill and acumen. He was given those things. He was given Kyrie Irving. He was given LeBron James. He was given the opportunity to trade for Kevin Love. You know, so those things, you win a championship and you say, I'm not happy. I wasn't happy with the way we built it because it wasn't sustainable. No fan cares about that. If they would trade any fan right now would trade that one championship. As in Houston right now, would y'all take one championship out of those years in the Harden run and be losing like you did this year? If you had gotten that one title, you take it in a minute.
In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. Kris Gardner, I mean, I said in a heartbeat. You cover this stuff more than I do. What do you think?
In terms of a championship, it's way more fun covering a team winning a championship than a team winning 17 games. There's no doubt about that. I mean, let's be real. You know, the interest is higher up from the fans, from everybody involved in town. You know, when the Rockets won 65 games, the Rockets were the it team in town. They were must-watch viewing. Now, I didn't think they were going to win the championship because of Warriors, but they had the best record. They were rolling. It was fun. It was hype. It was hype coming to the games. National media was here all the time.
All the time. That's true.
So, they were not here this year. They were not in on Zoom calls this season. You know, so when James was gone, they left too.
They forget quickly.
They sure do.
You mean to tell me they weren't trying to get interviews with Kevin Porter Jr. and Kenyon Martin Jr.?
They were when Scoot got the 50-point game, but other than that, they couldn't care at all.
All right. Listen, out of all the news that broke yesterday, Chris, for you, what was the most surprising, alarming? What caught your attention the most out of all the news that broke yesterday?
CP and the COVID.
Okay.
Yeah.
David, how about for you?
I mean, since he took CP3 to COVID, I have to say then Kawhi tearing his ACL.
That one right there got me.
That changes so much because Kawhi only had a 2-year contract with the Clippers.
Yeah.
So now it changes his offseason and their offseason and how they all think about it and what you're willing to pay Kawhi. Are you willing to do the Durant deal and give him potentially a year off to heal because of what these players have been through the last 2 seasons? So Kawhi may say, I'm not rushing back. I've taken a beating these last couple seasons. And so, you know, are you willing as the Clippers to pay him $35-40 million to skip a year and then not know what he's going to look like the year after that? So it's that changes so much for so many people. I think. And then the other part is, I think that the other big thing would be Ben Simmons just regressing to the point where he's almost unplayable.
He took 0 shots in second half. Well, 0 in the fourth quarter, 1 in the third quarter.
Yeah, and then he goes, He went 2 for 6 from the free throw line?
2 for 6 from the foul line in the second half and 2 for 8 from the foul line in the first half. That's a pro.
But
he's
that's
the same player he was at LSU. He is no better.
That's Doc's fault. That's Doc's fault.
It's Doc's fault for playing him 20 minutes.
He is no better than he was when he left LSU.
AJ, after the break, it is Doc's fault.
All right, y'all stay there. We'll break that. We'll break that down when we come back on the lunch break. I got to give you what my most surprising news of the day was yesterday, and you're gonna think I've lost my mind when I tell you. It's the lunch break, Throwback Thursday. I got 2 of the best: Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review, David Grubb, Hard in the Paint, and very amazing contributor with MLBBro.com. And again, want to thank Valencia King. I am Valencia King. Real Talk Sports in the first hour. It's been a power-packed day already. We'll come back and make it more right after this on the lunch break.
This is Clark Cummings Jr., Vice President of CWA District 6, representing over 30,000 union members in Texas, asking you to please cast your vote for Kim Yancey for Lamarck City Council District 8. I've known Kim to be a hard-working community activist who is responsive to the needs of the community, and as a city council member, will work hard to improve the lives of all residents of Lamarck. Early voting is taking place June 7th through June 15th, and Election Day is June 19th. Please cast your vote for Kim Yancey for City Council District 8.
Paid for by Texas for Working Families.
Tune in to Table Talk with your boy, TD Blackshear, every Tuesday from 10 to 11 a.m. on the legendary KYOK 1140 a.m. and 92.3 FM. See you there.
In need of tires? Check out OMG Tire Services and more. New and used tires, all the name brands you desire, located at 3126 Tidwell between 59 North and Jensen. Give them a call at 832-767-3211. Top-notch service from beginning to end. When you're done, get your car hand-washed inside and out at OMG Tire Services and more, located at 3126 Tidwell between 59 North and Jensen. Call 832-767-3211. That's 832-767-3211, conveniently located on the north side.
The legendary KYOK 1140 AM. The legendary KYOK 92.3 FM. Two radio stations in one.
I'm Larry Scott, host of the Not So Christian and Me Show. Join me Saturdays for great fun, interviews, music, and the latest news surrounding our world today. We are the show that cares to hear your voice and opinion with real conversation in a no judgment zone. So join me Saturdays from 1 to 2 p.m. on the Not So Christian and Me Show, right here on the legendary KYOK Radio 1140 AM and the all-new 92.3 FM and KYOKradio.org.
This is Nick from Acres Home. Checking out my boy AJ right here on KYOK 1140.
All right, y'all. Back here on the lunch break, legendary KYOK, all new 92.3 FM, streaming live, KYOKradio.org, and YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Appreciate y'all. All right, so David Grubb, Hard in the Paint, Kris Gardner, and Houston Roundball Review. I wanted to put a kind of like a panel together with all the news that broke, and with these playoff games going down the way that they did. You know, the sneaky one was Scott Brooks for me. Again, Scott Brooks had Russ Westbrook for the first time. Scott Brooks had Bradley Beal and Russ looking like they had something. They got into the playoffs. It's almost like Scott Brooks got punished for everything he didn't do before this season. If he had done this maybe a year or 2 years ago, or maybe when he had a healthier team, he wouldn't have suffered the way. Well, I'd suffered. Forget all that. He's gonna be all right. He got millions of dollars. That wouldn't have happened yesterday. Am I crazy? Am I wrong? What are y'all thinking?
I think it was time for him to go. Brad and Russ, Scott Brooks got them as far as he could get them.
Okay.
And the money they couldn't ruin the money. And in cases like this, I'm curious to see who the replacement is going to be.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
That's what I want to see.
Give me some names that you think would be the right fit for what they're trying to do in Washington now.
Well, I just read David Aldridge with The Athletic. He put out there Wes Unseld Jr. That'd be interesting because he has not been a head coach. But connection-wise, that makes a lot of sense.
Sure. That's a legendary name in that building.
Yeah.
Or, the organization anyway.
Well, the organization, yeah.
Yeah, and he's worked his way up.
David, how about
paid his dues?
Yeah.
What the question is always, what direction is the vision for Bradley Beal? Really, because Russ is still essentially a short-term guy. You want to see what that is. They have some very good players who will come back from injury. Thomas Bryant, I think, was a vital piece missing for them this year. They need to be better up front, and they suffered a lot of injuries to their front court. I think that is a talented team there in Washington, but this is also a team that hasn't won 50 games in the last 50 years. So you're trying to get to a level that you haven't been. You're trying to just get to the second round. To get to the second round of playoffs for them is something that's huge. So you have to get somebody who's going to they are not moving Bradley Beal. I don't care what anybody in the NBA thinks that you got a chance this summer to get Bradley Beal. Washington is not giving up Bradley Beal. So you need to find somebody who's going to make his life easier. Is going to make Bradley Beal's life easier. And that's the main thing, is somebody who can assure him, who's not going to make him play 42 minutes a night, who's going to get him to be a better defender. Because that's one, and when you have to score as much as he did, I could see he wasn't putting the same energy into defense. So whatever it is, it's going to have to be something that makes this smoother, and somebody who can incorporate those bigs. Because Russ has never really worked with a big who could score. The closest you had with that was Serge Ibaka, and Serge moved further and further away from the basket the longer he was with Russ. So when you have guys like Thomas Bryant who can be physical, when you have some of those young nasty bigs that they have, you want to be able to make sure that you incorporate them in that offense and make some easy opportunities for them too in pick and roll situations, not just jump shots. And I think that's where Washington suffered a lot, was that, Russ got assist totals, but there was a lot of jump shooting in there too.
Yeah, gotcha. How surprised or not surprised were you on the LaMelo Ball winning the Rookie of the Year?
I mentioned, I think last week, I thought he was going to win Rookie of the Year because I think somebody sent a question in about our thoughts on the Ball brothers, and I thought that was a no-brainer. I think that the gap being wide has kind of surprised me over Anthony Edwards, but LaMelo Ball was the clear favorite before he got hurt. So what changed once he came back from the injury? Nothing, in my opinion.
Really nothing.
If you're going to talk impact, it's LaMelo anyway. Anthony Edwards started scoring, but that's what you thought he was going to do. But the Timberwolves weren't better. They weren't better because of him. He has a long way to go defensively. But he can score. And that's what you always knew about Anthony Edwards walking in the building. But LaMelo came out, and nobody thought the Hornets were going to be what they ended up being. He turned Miles Bridges from a reserve into a piece that people are looking at, and people that might try to poach from that team. He made them one of the most, like you talk about must watch. You had to watch the Hornets. They were entertaining this season. And until Gordon Hayward got hurt, really, if they had that healthy group with LaMelo and Hayward and all that, you talking about a team that probably would have finished top 5 in the East.
When he got hurt, they were 4th in the East. So, I mean, he impacted winning. He impacted them on both sides. And that's why I vote.
I was 100% with the with the pick. I just felt like the news obviously got swallowed up with everything that happened. In the first hour, we talked to Valencia King about the Donnie Nelson news. Donnie Nelson, 24-year general manager, VP, whatever you want to call him, in that organization. Dirk Nowitzki, that's Donnie. The Chip, that's Donnie. Luka, that's Donnie. Kristaps, Tim Hardaway Jr., all that's Donnie. And, Mark Cuban said, nah, thanks, but no thanks. Mutually agreed to part ways.
What did Valencia say about that? Being from there, did she have a spin on it? Because, what was it, the day before The Athletic reported the issues Luka was having? He, all these things. Who the guy that has Cuban's ear, and then Mark says, that's BS. And then a day later, Don Nelson's gone. So something's not right going, in the organization.
Almost verbatim what you said. Have no idea what they're doing. Knew something was going on. Now we know. A lot of folks have been calling for Rick Carlisle to be relieved of his duties as well. And maybe Donnie was that firewall that kept them from moving on from Carlisle. So I thought it was interesting. She said multiple times, we don't know what they're doing. Go ahead and say it again.
It starts with Cuban, because you go back to the sexual harassment issues and the culture within that organization, and then look at the fact that since the twilight of Dirk Nowitzki's career, when they started saying that they were going to, they convinced Dirk to take less money so that they could go out and sign players, Dallas has not progressed. Yeah. They get Luka, can't get out the first round.
Yep.
You made the Porzingis trade when everybody around the Knicks was telling people that Porzingis' legs were never going to be right. That's why they dropped him for so little, was because they needed to get away from that contract and those legs. And you've seen it with Porzingis. His legs are never healthy. And you know how it is when you are 7 foot plus, when those feet and legs go. We can go back to Bill Walton. We can talk about Ralph Sampson. We can talk about whomever. But at Yao Ming, Houston has seen it enough.
That's true.
When you are tall and at that level and your legs aren't right, that base is Greg Oden, whomever, it never gets right. It never, ever gets right. And I think that, they've swung and missed. And what do you have now when it comes to tradable assets? Not much. You have some good players, but nobody that's going to get you a Pirates haul in return. And then your free agent money, when people talk about big markets, this is with the fallacy of the whole big market argument. Dallas is as big a market as there is. Dallas has all the money and the things that you can want if you're an athlete. Got everything. But ain't nobody taking Cuban's money. Who's taking his money to be as a free agent? He couldn't even convince DeAndre Jordan to leave the Clippers. So if you can't do that, then this starts at the top. And Mark Cuban's got to deal with himself because he's part of the problem too.
Yeah. That's funny you say that because Valencia reminded me that Dallas won the chip and blew it all up after that. And it made me think the Rockets haven't won a chip in forever and was constantly running it back with what they had until the guys decided we don't want to do this no more. So it's definitely a different mentality up there than it is down here in Houston. That being said, let's look at got to go back to a couple of nights ago when Kevin Durant just went to a whole different stratosphere. And, even James Harden being out there with 8 assists, didn't have much on the points and the rebounds, but those 8 assists were enough of the right ingredient to make the whole thing work. No? Chris says no. Talk to me.
All on the Bucks. All on the Bucks. James Harden had one leg, and they just could not attack him on defense. Are you serious? This man, you see him struggling getting up down the floor. But to the Nets' credit, they're like, well, if PJ's going to stand in the corner, James, you go stand in the corner with PJ. Seriously.
That's all the defense he had to do.
Milwaukee they didn't put James to pick roll enough to make him move his leg, move lateral, none of that stuff. KD was awesome. KD's been awesome before.
Yeah.
This is on the Bucks. The Bucks had every chance to win that game and they gave it away until the Nets said, I'm gonna take it.
Yeah.
KD, come on.
This is Mike Budenholzer 3 straight years has not changed his offense. You've seen this in the postseason. And I've gotten into arguments with people because I say, look, Kobe said this long before he passed about the Rockets in the postseason, that when you put your best player at the top of the key and you keep making that person do everything, it's easy to defend in the postseason.
Yep.
Guys figure it out. Giannis is not enough of a ball handler, and no 6'10" guy really is. No 6'10" guy really is to be sitting there doing. People say you got to get in your bag. KD doesn't have a bag like he's sitting there breaking you down. KD doesn't waste dribbles. KD takes 2-3 dribbles and a shot or move on. So when you ask a guy that to be your point guard in the half court at 6'10", you are creating a problem that you shouldn't be creating. You don't have somebody to set Giannis up on the pick and roll. He's not supposed to be initiating the pick and roll. He's supposed to be getting the setups on that. He's supposed to be getting the AD lobs. That's what Giannis is supposed to be doing in these situations. And when you plant guys in the corner like Brook Lopez on one side and PJ Tucker on the other, you are making it easier for a team that does not move well defensively as a group to stand still and rest when they also don't have a ton of depth. So they get to catch their breath on defense. The Bucks were supposed to be an up-tempo team. That's what they have been the last 3 seasons in the regular season. They have not pushed it against Brooklyn because this is on Mike Budenholzer. He refuses to change that offense and do something different to where guys are moving without the basketball. It is so much on Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, and Giannis to create, and Drew Holiday is having a terrible series.
He really is. Yeah, there's no getting around that.
That shot he had, that one chance he had against James in the fourth quarter, and he just let James back up, and Drew just settled for an awful broken jump shot that had no chance of going in. And I'm like, seriously, man, Attack this man off the dribble. Nope. He just backed up and threw up a brick. What is this?
I've seen that, Drew, before.
I mean, come on. And you have. I mean, seriously, come on. I give the Nets credit for winning the game. I do. But this is more on the Bucks just cratering. But this is what they do. It's what they have done. So, I mean, and did you see Giannis try with a jump, hook, toss kind of thing that had no chance of going in time and time again? What are you doing in the post? If you can't score in the post, don't get in the post.
Yeah.
And they don't make it easy for him either, because you know he's not a setup post guy. So they don't send somebody on the opposite side, get him moving so that he can catch and just turn.
Yeah.
He catches, he has to stop, gather, dribble, and then it ends up with that. And then that fadeaway when Harden waves people off and says, "I got this."
Yep.
No, man, that can't happen. That cannot happen.
Yeah. It's, David Grubb, Hard in the Paint, MLBBro.com, Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review, joining us on our panel for Throwback Thursday. Agreed on all the above. Very rarely do I agree with Charles Barkley and Kenny Smith, and both of them said Milwaukee is playing as dumb as they could possibly play. And they showed, Lopez, 35 feet away from the basket. Just absolutely made himself unguardable. You're not going to shoot from out there. You're not going to dribble penetrate. You're Brooks Lopez. You're not going to dribble penetrate out there. So you're literally now playing 4-on-5, and you're on offense.
But with PJ and Brook, you're 3-on-5.
Right.
They're just spacing out the floor.
PJ ain't putting it on the floor.
Yeah. Why guard them?
I'm sorry. Did PJ have 1 point? No. 2? No. 3? No. 4? None. Whole game. And they stationed him in his favorite place, and he still had nothing to contribute.
Because there's no rhythm.
The previous game, he scored.
Yeah.
He had some movement. He wasn't a statue.
But he was a statue.
He was a statue in game 5. I mean,
look at the teams that are winning. Look at the teams you look at Atlanta and see what they did and have done in both rounds. Atlanta's a team that's capable of playing with tempo and capable of playing in the half court.
Yeah.
But there's always movement. You're not watching. They're not watching Trae Young and waiting for their shots. Even in Brooklyn right now, they're not waiting. Those guys, Joe Harris moves when he doesn't have the basketball.
Bruce Brown
moves when he doesn't have the basketball. That's the teams that are doing their job well. Phoenix has been killing people because when they don't just stand there, they run that pick and roll to death. Right. At the same time, Mikal Bridges can move without the ball. Jay Crowder can move without the ball. Sure. Chris Paul can shoot in the mid-range. They have guys who are versatile in what they do. And Milwaukee is sending out guys who are either, and Drew Holiday, are not confident enough on a nightly basis to do the things that athletically he is capable. That night he hit the game-winning shot. In New Orleans, we were all talking about how we were surprised he made it. We thought he was going to blow that layup because we've seen him do that. We call it 2-minute Drew, that he gets tight at the end of ball games. Now, and so we thought he was going to miss it. So to see him play like this against a great team is not something. He gets up certain players, and the coaching staff used to tell us that Drew gets really up for certain guys that he knows that he has to get up against. But against this Nets team, I think it's like he feels intimidated. And that's with Harden missing 2 games. And with Kyrie missing probably the rest of this series. Drew should be dominating in this series.
Should be. Hold the thought, guys. I got one quick break, and then we're going to come back, and we're just going to get right on it. We're going to get right on it. David Grubb, Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review, joining us on the show. We'll be right back with more right after this on the lunch break.
1140 AM and 92.3 FM. The legendary KYOK.
If your loved one has passed away due to COVID-19, pay close attention to this message. You could be entitled to a death benefit of over $300,000. The U.S. government has set up a fund to pay families relief if they've lost a loved one due to COVID-19. We know this is a hard time for you, and this fund has been set up by the federal government to help ease your pain. The compensation includes a death benefit and lost wages benefit. Time is limited, so we urge you to make a free phone call right now. There's no cost to you for this claim. All legal fees are only covered once you receive your money. So if you've lost a loved one due to COVID-19, call the legal helpline right now to find out if you qualify for a cash award. Here's our number, 800-876-7047, 800-876-7047, 800-876-7047. That's 800-876-7047. Paid for by the IPG Law Group.
This is G Solo with Houston Energy, dropping in the KYOK lunch break.
All right, y'all. Appreciate G Solo. That's that women's professional football, and they play for real, Doc. They ain't out there just dancing. They out there hitting. Big shout out to her. Back on the show with David Grubb, Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review. It's our Throwback Thursday. We normally have Kris with us. David, thanks for dropping in. I want to thank Valencia King for coming in the first hour. I'm going to tie this in with Floyd's comment. Big Time Floyd said, hello, AJ, Kris, David, and the Breakers. Can I take your order? Yes, the 76ers fans can still receive the spicy choke sandwich courtesy of Doc Rivers. No excuse for blowing a 26-point lead at home. I said we were going to get right to it when we got back. Who gets fired first, Doc Rivers or Mike Budenholzer?
Budenholzer.
Bud. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Should it be that way? I agree with you. I think that's exactly how it should go down. Yeah. But, all the media want to keep bringing up every single time Doc has blown a lead in the series or a game in dominoes or a game in Spain.
Because he has, though, AJ. He has. He has a track record for that.
I got that.
But Bud will be fired first. Bud's gone first.
But see, the Sixers can fix part of the problem.
Okay.
Because now they've figured it out. I mean, if the front office doesn't understand now that Ben Simmons has to go,
right,
they're never gonna get it. These two don't fit. It doesn't work here. Ben is not getting better. Ben is not going to decide to shoot. Ben is not going to add to his offensive repertoire, and he's not a good enough defender to allow you to have a 6'10" guy who has the ball in his hands all the time to not shoot, and then when he does shoot, not be capable of shooting. You can't do it. You cannot have somebody that big who has the ball, who has neither a post game, a mid-range game, nor a three-point shot.
Kris, how mad do you think Philly is right now that they didn't pull off some kind of deal for Russ with Ben Simmons included in the package now, as was rumored earlier this year?
Oh, I think they're swole, but this is Daryl Morey has. Where is he in all of this? Trader Daryl.
Yeah.
I mean, he Seth Curry was a great addition, and Daryl Morey, Mr. Analytics here in Houston.
Yeah.
Got a guy that can't make free throws, threes more than twos more than ones. Ben does none of that. Can't make throws, can't make threes.
And you can't respect his drive. I mean, you don't have to respect his drive because you can play off of him.
Okay.
So Daryl Morey, why'd you hold on to him like you did?
Yeah, and can I say this? I could see Daryl not coming in being Trader Daryl like he was in Houston right away. He had that
trade deadline. He had time to look and see how things are going.
It was never going to work. We've seen this movie before with these two guys. It doesn't work.
Yeah, I agree.
The one thing that I figured out was he had to build this team around Embiid. And so he told Joel, get you behind closer to the basket. And Embiid did that this year and put up incredible numbers. But you cannot reach Ben Simmons. I have seen this. I've seen this dude since he was a freshman in college at LSU. No coach could talk to him. No teammates could talk to him. He believes he is better than he is. He thinks he's an MVP candidate. He thinks he's the best defender in the league. He thinks he is a difference maker. He is none of those things. He is a good player. He's not even a great player. He is a good player.
Yeah. All right. So Doc gets more time to do what he's going to do. If they win the series, or are Doc and Bud gone both this year?
So you still thinking Philly's gonna come back and win this series? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, they still got a shot.
I think they're broken. I think they are mentally done.
Okay.
These last two games, they've blown both of them.
Okay.
And I think Joel Embiid is like, my goodness, what else can I do to get us a win? Well, and he's got to get in better shape. His second half.
He's never been in shape. Not one season of his career.
And that's on him. Everybody's got issues. Tobias Harris, where you at, bro?
Yeah, no, he disappeared last night. Too. The other night.
When Jimmy Butler questioned the toughness of the core of the group, like you had to understand it. Do you really believe? Do you think Joel Embiid will do whatever it takes to win? Do you think that Ben Simmons will do whatever it takes to win? And I'll say this too. Nate McMillan is the best coach remaining in the Eastern Conference in the playoffs.
Right.
Because he's got those guys. Atlanta is not playing like they're surprised.
They're not.
They're playing like they expect to do what they're doing. And they are not afraid of the moment. And they are willing to punch you in the mouth. And that's what they did to Philly in that fourth quarter. Yeah, you have to collapse if you're Philly. But at the same time, a team has to take advantage of that. And Atlanta continued to take advantage. Every time Philly made a mistake, they took advantage of it and kept pressing, and they thought they could win. So they didn't give up on the game. And that's how Nate is. Look what happened in Indy. Look what happened in Atlanta. And tell me Nate McMillan shouldn't have been in the top 3 for Coach of the Year.
Agreed. And Clint Capella, Joel gets his in the first half. But Clint, he talks back to Joel because Clint has said publicly Joel is going to regress in the second half. We're going to keep running. We're going to get him tired, and then you see him start missing those shots. Clint Capella, he's been proven correct.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie.
So,
look, when he talked up here that didn't work, it seems to be working down there. I had to apologize to him. But you brought up Tobias Harris, 4 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 for 11 shooting, 0 for 3 from the from 3-point land, and he didn't go to the line once. What?
In the second half, it was worse. It was worse than that.
I think 2 players made shots in the fourth quarter for Philly?
No, I think second half. Joel and Seth were it. The only 2 Sixers that made shots in the second half for them. So mentally, you could argue that's not Doc, okay? But putting your players in position to succeed is on Doc. And if Ben Simmons is taking 1 shot in 20 minutes, don't play him. Play Shake Milton. Play somebody else that is an offensive threat.
Why didn't we see more Shake Milton last night?
See, that's the Doc thing right there.
Yeah, that's true. That's on Doc.
Okay. That's on Doc. Because if Ben Simmons, he's too afraid to get fouled, so he doesn't want to take shots. He doesn't want to go to the line. He's a liability.
Yeah.
He's a liability that should not be getting 20 of the 24 minutes and a half.
Yeah.
That's on the coach. Now, it's on Ben overall in his game that it has not improved. But for this moment, he should not have played 20 minutes in the second half.
Valencia King just chimed in. She said, delayed comment when David Grubb said Ben Simmons thinks he's better than he is. That sounds like the Draymond Green effect gone wrong. She right about that.
Yeah, Draymond is a dude. Like, if you want to put it together, Draymond should have never is one of those people who ain't supposed to be here.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? 6'7" dude, played center, went 4 years of college. He should not be what he is. 2nd round draft pick. Now he's won, defensive player of the year, been an integral cog in the multiple championships because he gets every last bit out of himself.
Yep.
Ben Simmons, I don't think you've gotten 25% based on what the talent level that he walked into the world with. Ben Simmons is a huge disappointment as a number 1 pick and as a player. If you're Philly, you have to get him out of there as soon as possible because that dude will tear your team down because he's going to constantly want his way and he's just not going to give you what you need.
Yeah. All right, so I got you, Kris Gardner. Philly is done. David, where you at? Philly, Atlanta.
I got Atlanta going to the finals. If Kyrie isn't healthy and James Harden isn't healthy in the conference finals, I think Atlanta can win that in 6 or 7 games.
Yeah, I want Atlanta.
For me, everything depends on Chris Paul. I'm taking to me, it's Phoenix and Atlanta, the two teams that I think are playing the best right now. And I wouldn't put anything. And with Kawhi being gone, and with Mike Conley maybe not playing the rest of the playoffs, Phoenix, I don't see anybody who can beat them. Even if Chris Paul is missing, we've seen Phoenix win a couple of games. And if they can get a couple early, if they can steal the first or second one, then I think Phoenix and Atlanta in the finals.
Yeah. Rob Parker, award-winning journalist, put out a Paul George apology form. And last night, Paul George, 37 points, 16 rebounds, and was aggressive. Paul George was like jumping off the court. Yo, did you grab me around my neck? I'm just saying, whole different Paul George we saw last night. And, oh, yeah, by the way, they got the win 119-111 and are about to run Utah out of the playoffs. Any comments about Paul George stepping up like most folks said he couldn't or wouldn't?
It's about time. Do it again. Okay, PG was great last night. Do it again. We know Kawhi's out. Do it again. That's what comes from being a superstar. Elite players do it again. What did Marcus Morris get last night? Marcus Morris had 25, right?
Marcus Morris going to get 25 again.
Right, but Marcus Morris had 25 last night, though, right? So what if Marcus Morris doesn't do that?
Doesn't hit threes like it just falling off his hands. Just
Reggie Jackson, great on offense, okay, but we expect Paul George to do that game in, game out because he is supposed to be a superstar. We don't expect Reggie Jackson and Marcus Morris to do that game in, game out. That's why they're different players. That's why they're role players. Paul George, do it again. I'm all these folks apologizing to PG. He did it one time. Do it again.
Still ain't never been to a finals. I mean, like, dude, this is the guy who 2 years ago was top 3 MVP, right?
Yeah.
That's what you talk. So aren't you supposed to expect these things from somebody at that level? If you're first team all NBA level player, you're supposed to be able to win a playoff game by yourself every now and then. It happens. It's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
I love it because I got the right guys on here. Kris Gardner playing with this. David Grubb.
KD's done it more than once, right? Hasn't KD done it more than once? Kevin Durant.
Hasn't Donovan Mitchell done it more than once in these playoffs?
All right, so Paul George, do it again.
Okay. All right, that being said, tomorrow night, 9 o'clock, win or go home for the Utah Jazz. What happens, Kris Gardner?
Well, if Donovan's ankle issues are iffy, I think Mike Conley's going to try to give it a go. But the Clippers are the Clippers. I'm picking Utah because I want to see Paul George do it again. I want to see Marcus Morris step up again. Reggie Jackson step up again.
David Grubb, who you got tomorrow night, 9 o'clock?
Yeah, I think it goes 7. I think this is going to 7 because, again, Quinn Snyder's a better coach than Tyronn Lue. And I don't think the Clippers are going to shoot like this again. And Utah's not going to shoot as poorly as they did. Mm-hmm. You know, Bogdanovich ain't going to miss like he was missing. That stuff is not going to happen. Joe Ingles is going to be better than he was in that first half. Utah couldn't make a shot in the first half. Mm-hmm. And the guys, like Chris said, you're not going to get 5-6 threes out of Marcus Morris in the first half again. That's not going to happen. So if those things change and Paul George, instead of scoring 37, scores 27, then Utah wins this game. And I think Utah is just a better coach team than what the Clippers are. And I don't think the Clippers particularly like each other either.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They don't.
All right. Did y'all tell me who wins tonight, Brooklyn or Milwaukee?
Brooklyn.
I think the Bucks are done too. Even though I think the Bucks they're healthy and they're better, but being those things and winning are different.
Okay. All right.
And KD got that look, man. KD got that look.
And his teammates believe in him to close out games. Do you believe the Bucks have that thought about Giannis? No.
Who goes in there and coaches Milwaukee if Bud gets let go?
That's a great question because I think they need an established head coach, not somebody like Chauncey Billups. So that's a great question. I don't know about that. I got to think about that one.
Yeah, David. Maybe Emi Udoka, who has done it all.
He deserves a shot. He deserves a shot somewhere. One of these openings, he deserves a chance.
I think Emi Udoka would be very interesting, having come from the Spurs, having been a lead assistant 2 times, a guy who understands the top of the, everybody from the top of the food chain to the bottom, is a great communicator. I think, he deserves a shot. And I think with the talent that Milwaukee has, if they make some changes, like I don't understand why Bobby Portis hasn't played more.
Yeah.
Portis be playing more. He should be playing those PJ Tucker minutes. Should be going to Bobby Portis.
Yeah, I could see those going over there, and they got to.
He would move.
Yeah, they got to sell out tonight, guys. We've come up against it. Chris Paul gonna be all right. He's gonna be there for the start of the Western Conference Finals.
Get that LeBron doctor.
I mean, if the series goes 7, they don't play it. Game won't be till Tuesday. So I think so. He should be good by the end.
Okay. All right. Guys, we got to get ready to go. Kris Gardner, you go first. Tell them where they can find you and follow you and give us a little bit of Can You Stand the Rain?
I didn't say I was going to do that. I said I might think about it. That'll be tomorrow on the live stream, AJ. 7 o'clock Central Time on live stream. I'm Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review, HoustonRoundballReview.com, Houston Roundball Review on YouTube and Instagram. Twitter is VHR Review. Been around since 1994. Houston Roundball Review, local name, national perspective.
David
Grubb. I was honored to have Chris on with me when I was in Lafayette a couple weeks ago. And we had a great conversation on that show. So, yeah, he's one of the best, man.
I agree. Tell everybody about you. What you got going on, brother?
Like I say, MLBBro.com. I do 3 things a week with them. A couple stories. And a couple video pieces there, and the MLBBro.com weekly mixtape with JR Gamble. So we do that as well. Now, this week, my classic hits was on, oh my gosh, why am I forgetting my player now? Jeffrey Leonard, the notorious Jeffrey Leonard. So that was a cool story to do. And of course, with the birdrights.com and Hard in the Paint, you can find those wherever you get your podcasts. And next week, maybe some news. So cross your fingers.
Okay. All right. Gentlemen, I appreciate it. You, along with Valencia King, made it all make some sense today. Y'all have a great rest of your day. We'll be talking, especially as we see things happen tonight and tomorrow. We'll have to follow up and see where we are then. All right?
Thank you, brother, as always.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Be safe.
All right, y'all. Donnie McClurkin up next with the Donnie McClurkin Show. Give you the best in gospel music, latest in the gospel music industry. As always, let's not be divided. Let's be united. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. But stop the racism, all right? All right, y'all. Talk to you tomorrow.
1140 AM, KYOK Conroe, and 92.3 FM, K222CX Houston.
Are you ready?
All right, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed today's show. I want to thank Valencia. I got to thank Chris. I definitely got to thank David. Again, so much going on in the NBA. I wanted to bring the best of the best in. So as always, not this, definitely this. I love y'all. Nothing you can do about it except just accept it. But got to give love to Chicago State. Got to give some love to those Cougars. HBCU, we do it every Thursday. Hadn't had, anything representing the city of Chicago, so I had to give some love to them. So y'all stay blessed. We'll talk to you tomorrow.